Hello there. The political landscape for Nigeria's 2027 general election is already intensively active, marked by early maneuvering, struggle for internal party control, and a concerning rise in pre-election violence. Now, with the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC, consolidating its spread, there is a major opposition realignment, which exploring a coalition to, challenge the APC. But Nigeria's once ruling People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and the Labour Party are still contending with internal party struggles. While the apex electoral body, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the judiciary are seeking for ways to boost institutional trust, there are significant calls that, in the light of the failure by the lawmakers to guarantee full-scale and mandatory electronic transmission of election results, the civil society groups should come together and float independent result viewing portals and raise vote marshals to protect the franchise. But beyond these concerns, violence is being reported as a growing threat well ahead of the 2027 polls. It is an established fact that in the past, politicians relished in the recruitment of armed gangs and militias for electoral purposes. Inflammatory language and personal attacks usually replaced issue-based campaigns. Efforts by the National Peace Committee, spearheaded by elder statesmen to promote peace and non-aligned security architecture, is yielding, well, very little fruits. And early signs of political violence ahead of the elections next January are viewed by political analysts as a signal flare of a ticking time bomb that doesn't portend any good at all. Political violence begins gradually through unchecked intimidation and unpunished crimes. These are usually precursors to more widespread chaos if unchecked. Now, the smoke of early violence is 2026, if allowed to spread, could compound low turnout of voters. With Nigeria contending with national security challenges, thuggery cannot be tolerated nor normalized as standard political practice. It must be tackled. On today's discussion, it shall beam a searchlight on these concerning rise in pre-election violence on the program tonight. I am Enemaku Ojochegbe, and this is Democracy Today on AIT. Stay with us.
Focus Nigeria. It's a huge task, but we take it on.
I think that is the law.
National Assembly is not doing hearing on insecurity in Nigeria. It is America that is doing hearing on insecurity in Nigeria.
Monday to Friday on Focus Nigeria, we identify the nagging issues.
So people put people in poverty deliberately, deliberate misplacement of priorities, and brought people on their knees to suffer.
We seek answers to the tough challenges.
And because of
For
this
the former president,
yes,
what I know is that he has not turned his membership card. He has not been attending your meeting.
leave that to us to deal.
There's no shying away from the
The
issues.
system is held accountable. The leaders are accountable for the funds, for the resources that they manage.
No sitting on the fence.
The same thing that made you live where you are may confront you.
Focus Nigeria, 10 a.m., Monday to Friday on AIT.
Many thanks for staying with us. If you are just tuning in, this is Democracy Today on AIT. Now, one of the three newly registered political parties in Nigeria, the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, was unveiled in the Nigerian capital, Abuja, on Monday. The leader of the party, Senator Siraki Dixon, a former governor of Bayelsa State, says the NDC is a people-centered opposition movement focused on justice, true federation, and inclusive governance to challenge the existing political order.
We are here to invite all Nigerians, not only those in the opposition. We are here to invite all Nigerians, including the people in the APC, who we know are dissatisfied. We know. Forget about how they look in public. Okay? We have ideas about how they feel privately, but no option. This is an option for all of them, all Nigerians, and Nigerians in the diaspora. who are desirous of change. And specifically, our colleagues in the other opposition parties, they are really, really welcome, even today. But like I said, come early into the Noah's Ark before the rain begins and you find it difficult to trace the ark. The ark will always be there. The NDC is there. But better come book your place. Not one leg here, another leg there. Come fully to the NDC.
Definitely interesting. When you think it has all ended, then, you know, any other interesting dimensions come up. You know him. That's the former governor of Bayelsa State and now Senator Seraki Dixon, the leader of the newly, launched political party. And he clearly invited members of the opposition and even members of the ruling APC to join in the party. You heard him. He called it the Noah's Ark. In other words, his party is the better alternative for everyone. Well, we'll see how that pans out, because definitely you know already that there are interesting days ahead. Today we're discussing, as I mentioned, the 2027 politics and concerning rise in pre-election violence. And I'm being joined by a development consultant. He's a public affairs analyst as well as an author. We'll talk about no other than Jide Ojo. He joins me now via Zoom. Thanks for joining the program tonight. Let me start with you regarding the newly launched political party where former governor of Bayelsa State, Seraki Dixon, is boldly and courageously, opening his arms to members of the ruling party, as a matter of fact, to join the party. What are your thoughts regarding that?
Good evening, Enemaku. What former governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Seraki Dixon, has done is legit, is now marketing his new platform. But I recall some months ago, he said he would never leave as PDP, that he would be the last man standing in PDP. But that's how political dynamics can make people to eat their words and to do things that they said they would never do. And that's why it said that you trust politicians at your own peril. If the man that claims that he will never leave PDP, he will be the last man standing, is now marketing another political platform, then it tells you that when the dynamics change, it will also leave that same new party to align forces with another political platform. It's not just Senator Seraki Dixon. Even the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, said he will never leave All Progressive Grand Alliance. But we saw that he has not just left APGA, he has left APGA for PDP, from PDP to Labour Party, from Labour Party to African Democratic Congress now. So something that somebody said he would never do, he has done it almost 4 times. So it's in the nature and character of Nigerian politicians to speak for the moment and leave the future to conjecture. But what Senator Seraki Dixon has done with unveiling of NDC is to give the party a vibe. Now the NDC, which was newly registered by INEC a couple of months back, now has a senator, a service senator. What a good fortune to have an elected representative, even though it's not by election, but by defection. Whatever it is, NDC as a new party, as a new salesman, a new leader, the person of Senator Seraki Dixon.
All right, let's go to our discussion for today. There are concerns regarding, the rise in pre-election violence in parts of the country, and it's really very concerning. Indices of that were made evident in the just concluded congresses that were held by the ruling APC in parts of the country, in places like Ondo State and in Benue State, skirmishes of violence here and there. And it's really worrisome because elections, active electioneering activities have not even commenced yet, and we're saying like this. What does it portend as the clocks begin to tick towards the election season?
Well, as you said in the background to this discussion, it's a bad omen that does not augur well for our democracy. Incidentally, in my column in the Punch newspaper just last Wednesday, I did highlight the high level of intolerance of political opposition in Nigeria pre-2027. And it's really very concerning for me as a Democrat, as a researcher, as somebody who is working in the field of democracy and good governance. I am worried. Just over the weekend, perhaps a couple of days back, you saw in Bakassi local government where the unveiling or the meeting of ADC members was prevented, and all the canopies and public address systems and chairs, tables were destroyed by some people who I saw in that footage who claimed that only APC would be allowed in the Bakassi local government area. I don't know whether you saw that footage.
I did not just in Bakassi. There was somewhere in Edo State, something similar, went viral as well.
It's a growing trend. It's a growing trend, Anemaku. In fact, if you read the column of the Punch, if you read the editorial of the Punch newspaper of today, the editorial, where it was, it calls out the opposition. It actually highlighted, just like I raised that concern last Wednesday, about the growing intolerance of opposition. We've seen that in Kaduna, we've seen it in Ekiti, we've seen it in Lagos, we've seen it in Edo, we've seen it in, you talked about the one in Ondo, and that is even intra-APC. The one in Ondo where somebody allegedly died,
yes,
was during the party congress of APC. In fact, a day or two before that incident where in the Dori local government, somebody was killed in the course of the Congress, the party chairman, the immediate party chairman of APC in Ondo State, Adetimeyi, was publicly molested, harassed, and beaten up. And then, of course, you move to Oyo State, also another intra-PDP crisis, where the home of the former deputy governor of Oyo State, I think Bola Rubi, was vandalized, vehicles vandalized in his home, because it belongs to the Wike camp of PDP and not the Seyi Makinde camp. And there are several local governments where, those who belong to the Wike camp allegedly were harassed and molested in the congresses that they said they held last week or thereabout. So it's a growing trend, either intra-party or inter-party, where opposition is no longer being tolerated. And as you said in that background, it is ominous because it's part of the contributory factor to low voter turnout. If this is happening when campaign housing started, when party primaries has not been held, and you will have harassment, violence, intimidation, and all of that in the non-election period, how much more when we are in the heat of elections? And even under the electoral 2026, there will still be about, I think, 150 days of campaign, because presidential campaign will start sometimes in August or thereabout and end on 14th of January. So that is still kind of 150 days of campaign for national elections and the state elections. So we haven't gotten to that level, and we have this heightened high level of intolerance of political opponents, whether within the same party or among political parties. This should worry INEC. This should worry security agencies. This should also be a thing of worry to Interparty Advisory Council, who needs to rein its members and rein them in, call them to order, that this will not be tolerated, because we should not have an autocratic system in a democracy. Democracy is a portfolio of ideas. People should be able to canvass their own preferences. They should be able to support. We have seen in time past where husband and wife will support different political parties, and that will not cause any disharmony or domestic violence within the home. We have seen that happen in several places where the members of the same family will belong to different political persuasion. In fact, right now, I hope you know, Enemako, that the son, one of the children of Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, is canvassing for President Tinubu, while another one that is working, that was formerly working with the governor of Adamawa, that's Ahmadu Fintiri, who resigned as commissioner for works, has decided to pitch his tent with his father in ADC. And that is the same family. One decided that I'm going to work for President Tinubu. The other decided that I'm going to join my father in ADC. And that we have not had Atiku saying that is disowning his son that decided to go and work for President Tinubu. So this is the politics without bitterness, that someone like GMPP leader in the Second Republic, Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim, former governor of Old Borno State, that's what he was known for, politics without bitterness. And that's what we should be canvassing for in 2026, not politics of intolerance, politics of my way or highway, politics of if you don't join, if you don't align with me, I will run you out of town. We should do away with such.
Jide, let me ask you. You see, many Nigerians are really at the crossroads as regards, the intolerance going on. For instance, yeah, we can understand that many Nigerians can accept that, well, intra-party, when opposition, the ruling party is being accused by the opposition of, influencing their violence and discontent, is understood. But within the party, within the ruling party itself, like some of the incidents that you reeled out, what could be responsible for such very high octane and serious animosity, and that could lead to such violence, therefore?
The same thing that happens in the inter-party that happens with intra-party. Let's take, for instance, Enemaku, you are a living witness. Just last year, on more than 2 occasions, there was violence at PDP headquarters over which faction will seize the control of the Wadata Plaza.
Okay.
I hope you know that. I mean, the same party, and yet we saw fisticuffs, we saw people being harassed and molested, all because they belong to a different faction within the same party. And that was a national disgrace, as we saw it. I think that's the footage that is playing on your screen.
That's it, right? That's right.
We had governors who were even molested. The different governors came belonging to different factions, and they were uncontrollable, and their foot soldiers were also, uncontrollable. It's a national shame and should not have a place in our democratic space in this time and season. But it is what it is. Politicians spare no effort in order to protect their interests. Politics, as we know, is a game of interest. And for them, it's the Machiavellian principle of the end justifies the means.
Okay.
If you have to kill, to maim, to destroy, just let me have my interests protected. Let me have my win. And that is why I'm calling on the security agencies that they need to be alive to their responsibilities. 2027 is around the corner. Incidentally, this this 2027 election will be held early in the new year, mid-2027 January. And so we should as well say the battle for the soul of 2027 will be fought largely in 2026. And as we approach the mid-year, as we approach next month when party primaries will hold, you know, party primary is scheduled to hold from April 23 to May 30th. But before then, there are a number of political parties who have scheduled their party congresses for between this month and next month. And ADC is one of them. PDP factions, even APC has scheduled its own convention for some time. And we have seen what played out in a number of states. As you pointed out, in Benue State, we have two parallel state executives of APC has emerged.
That's right.
One belonging to Governor Isaac Talia.
And the SGF.
The other said to be a faithful faction of the SGF. We have also seen in Ondo State where some of the party leaders said the governor has run them out of the party in order to plant his stooges as state executive of APC. But to what end? The governor wanted the third term. By default, he has gone to court. The court has ruled. Maybe he will go to Supreme Court now that the court seems to have said. But this is all targeting control of party structures. That is why you are seeing this intra-party crisis. Control of party structure. Who controls? Because it's the person who controls or the faction which controls the state executive or the National Working Committee that will go ahead and conduct the party primaries next month.
Okay. And that's the one that INEC will recognize.
And that's the one INEC will recognize. So they can as well fight their battles before they get to the party primaries. And that's why you see at the level of having congresses. In fact, I also saw where sometimes somewhere in the South, where some faction of ADC said some people are trying to dislodge them and they are going to resist that, which is also what has been said about the case in Edo State, where they said Odige Yogun and some other people are trying to hijack the ADC structure. So it's all about interest. It's all about who controls the party structure, whether at the world.
Okay, since it's still talking about interest, right? Now, in the interest of peace, if I may take your mind back a little bit, back in 2015, there was a National Peace Committee that was set up by some really eminent Nigerians. Bishop Kuka is there, the Emir of Sokoto is there, many other eminent Nigerians. A former head of state, I beg your pardon, the Sultan of Sokoto, and the former head of state, Abdulsalami Abubakar, and some other notable Nigerians, of course. Now, this National Peace Committee has been signing peace accord, or rather has been, making political contenders to sign peace accord since 2015 till now. But it reminds me of their attitude most of the time. Sort of reminds me of the clever baboon, right? That never listens to any other person except his own, does what he wants. Most of the time, even after signing this peace accord, you still have violence pre, post, and during elections and what have you. Does it mean that the peace committee is almost not even necessary, therefore?
No, I disagree with that. What we need to know is that the peace committee that was initiated by Bishop Matthew Asankuka and, drawing in people like former head of state Abdulsalami Abubakar, Sultan of Sokoto, Archbishop John Onayekon, and the rest of them, has achieved tremendous success. You see, even when there is violence or conflict, there is different layers of conflict. It's either low intensity, middle intensity, or high intensity.
Okay.
If the peace accord was not there, I don't think we would have had a peaceful transition in 2015. I mean, you and I, you have been a political reporter for over a decade. You know how the Ijaw militants were saying that if Goodluck Jonathan did not win 2015 election, they will make the country ungovernable. It was kudos to the National Peace Committee who used back channel diplomacy to prevail on former President Goodluck Jonathan to concede even before the official announcement of the results were concluded. He conceded and congratulated former President Muhammadu Buhari. That saved the country a lot of crises. In fact, if not for that peace initiative, because we recall what happened in 2011 when Goodluck Jonathan was declared president, and there was a post-election conflict in 13 states of northern Nigeria, which led to over 800 souls destroyed, according to Human Rights Watch. 800 people plus were murdered in cold blood, including 10 youth corps members in Bauchi State. That was part of what prompted the former Secretary General of the United Nations, late Kofi Annan, Dr. Kofi Annan, to come to Nigeria, initiate with some eminent Nigerians to have this peace, National Peace Committee in place. Even though he didn't play any post-inauguration role, but he was one of the brain behind those who mooted and sold the idea to Nigeria. And this has gained traction in the last 13 years or thereabout. Because now we have signing of peace accord at the local, at the state level in almost all the obstacle governorship election. They are now signing of peace accord. Yes, to an extent, because the peace accord does not have the force of law. It is a kind of moral suasion. You may say their achievement is not in high measure to kind of prevent altogether the violence, but they have achieved crisis. Who will rather take to the streets, mobilize and incite their followers to take to the street. They are now taking refuge of law, saying that they will go to court to test the as their mandate back, even where they felt cheated ab initio. Look at somebody like Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. She did not win at the polls. She was actually she won at the polls, but for the judiciary that reclaimed that mandate for him, she possibly would not have been in Senate. Look at someone like even Governor Caleb Mutwang of Plateau State, someone like Governor Dauda Lawal. These are people, including Abba Kabir Yusuf. It was the Supreme Court that eventually gave them victory after the Court of Appeal seemed to have nullified their election. So it is all part of the election dispute resolution mechanism that, okay, this is an election, there are bound to be disputes, there are bound to violence, whether psychological violence, sociological violence, structural violence, or physical violence. They are bound to happen in every contestation. But at least how do we bring it under control? How do we ensure that this does not lead to loss of lives and destruction of property? So to that extent, I will still score the National Peace Committee, I will still score them 60% for the great job they have done in the last 30
Okay,
years.
let me ask you one quick one before, before we take a quick break. Now, is it possible to sort of constitutionalize, this peace accord? Because when an incident or an issue is made law, or rather is made mandatory, to some extent, it is more enforceable, especially in election cycles or election-related issues. So, would you also support the move by so many other Nigerians that it's about time it is, enshrined either in the Constitution or in the Electoral Act in order for it to be more enforceable?
Well, Enemaku, truth be told, I don't think we need to do that. In good conscience, I don't think so. Do you know that there are even constitutional provisions that have been observed in breach? It's not having something in the law that makes it enforceable. We have had, in fact, a whole section of the Electoral Act is dedicated to issues around, electoral violence and how to deal with it and all of that. But how much of enforcement have we seen with that? The law even empowers the Commissioner of Police to ensure that there is peaceful campaign and all of that. But we not so deaf as those who know here. The police are there on the field. In fact, INEC itself, to complement whatever the National Peace Committee is doing, INEC itself has since had a standing committee called Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. You know about that, where INEC chairman and the Inspector General of Police are co-chair. And this ICES, Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, has been inaugurated. Even at the local government level, they have ICES. So the law is very clear, has criminalized electoral violence in every sort, so much so that even when you look at that section of the law, I don't know what section, it used to be in section 7 of the Electoral Act 2022. If you look at it, even in 2026 Electoral, it has criminalized electoral violence and all of that. It has assigned duty bearers to ensure the implementation of the law. But we haven't seen much of implementation. So even if you say, put a peace committee or peace accord in the law, and then there is no enforcement, you have not achieved anything.
All right.
You have not achieved anything meaningful. So it is still better to have a non-profit, non-governmental organization driving that. Then the police and other security agencies driving the one in the Electoral Act and in the Constitution. Then INEC also driving its own, and then the civil society doing their own bit. So all of us are working. In fact, I would say rather that what needs to be done is to expand the National Peace Committee to include, there is a Sultan of Sokoto who represents the traditional institution.
The traditional institution, yes.
I recall that there was a particular instance in Edo State where the Oba of Benin had to summon all contestants in that election. I think one of the elections where Governor Obaseki contested. The situation was so heated that the Oba of Benin had to summon all the candidates at that time to mediate and say, don't burn these states down. We need peace. And they all listened, and there was a de-escalation. So the traditional institutions can also still form part of the National Peace Committee that can drive this initiative at the state and the local government level.
All right.
But I don't think we should have it in the law for whatever reason.
All right, Jide, hold your thoughts for a moment because we want to take a break now. When we come back, there'll be more discussions with Jide Ojo. Don't go away.
The issues as they break, the multitude, the political figures, the state and non-state actors.
It's a serious threat to democracy.
And our government seem to be incapable of protecting
the scheming.
This is not a period we should say bow and go.
Every part of this country is equal.
The intrigues.
There can be no one person that is bigger than the party.
Deft moves and the momentous declaration.
We didn't get any protection.
I'm not particularly against
anybody. We track and capture them all.
I don't believe in godfatherism in politics.
Follow in-depth analysis and no-holds-barred interviews.
Armed forces of the country is well capable. They need the political will.
Are they just waking up from sleep? Is there complacency?
Feel the pulse of happenings in the political arena on AIT Democracy Today. Widely acclaimed authority on politics. Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time. The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
Thanks for staying with us. The politics of 2027 and concerning rise in pre-election violence across the country. That's what we're discussing tonight. And my guest, Jide Ojo, who joins me via Zoom, is still very much around. Thank you very much, Jide. Now, talking about, having control on the violence, the perpetrators, the sponsors, and whoever it is they are, but everybody involved. Now, the security agencies, especially the police, are overwhelmed. Remember, the Nigerian police has a new helmsman in office, and he has only just officially resumed. But then, he is someone who has been a police officer in Nigeria for most of his career, of course. We don't need to debate on that. So, is the Nigerian police, as of now, well capable to chest whatever is coming? Not doom now, but, considering the escalation of violence and election-related violence, as we see it, is the Nigerian police overwhelmed and other security organizations, as we see it?
I shouldn't think so. The new Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, is a man that has a track record of crime fighting, and is a man that has been around for over 30 years. Remember, he was just going to retire in about 48 days before his appointment was announced as the new Inspector General of Police. So he's not a rookie. And is managed states, and this FCT was one of the states he managed as a commissioner of police, likewise River State. And he has discharged his duty. But don't forget that even when election time comes, it's not just the police. The DSS is involved. The armed forces are also involved. In fact, just last week, the chief of air staff paid a courtesy visit on INEC chairman, Professor Joash Uduampito, to pledge the readiness of the Nigerian force to assist INEC to succeed. Today, the Alumni Association of Institute of Security Studies also paid a courtesy visit on INEC chairman and pledged their readiness to support. So election is a multi-stakeholder enterprise. And least of all, if you look at those who constitute the ISES that I mentioned earlier, that's the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security.
Okay.
There are almost 20 security agencies and paramilitary that are involved, including the Nigeria Fire Service, including the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, including the anti-corruption agencies like ICPC and EFCC, including Nigeria Immigration, Nigeria Customs, all of them are part of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. Civil Defense is there. And we see those deployments on election day, where you see anti-corruption agencies trying to mop up and arrest those who are involved in vote buying. We've seen the NDLA mopping up those who are selling drugs that could make the political talks to operate at a natural level, and so it's not just about Nigerian police. We know that Nigerian police has limited number of personnel to deploy for election, because as we have election, there's those who still are informed special forces who are helping us, working with the joint task force to bring the insurgents under control and all of that. But when they work together under that platform of ISES, Interagency Consultative Committee, their strength is stronger, and they can do a lot more. But beyond and above, I think it's not just policing or police or security agencies. It's about the political class also talking to themselves and allowing and giving peace a chance. Like the song of late Christian Esen Igbokwe, singing many decades ago about giving peace a chance, that we need to give peace a chance. So if the political class will just yield and allow due process. A couple of weeks ago in my column in The Punch, I did talk about the antics of the political class, antics of Nigeria's political class. And one of them is they believe it's better to kill their opponents than to contest against them. And I gave examples. In 2023, just that same week the election was going to hold, in somewhere in Enugu State, the Labour Party candidate in that election was killed alongside with 5 of his supporters in the course of campaign. And that was barely 5 days to the election. That particular senatorial election had to be suspended and conducted on a different day. There was this young guy who went to contest in Anambra State, resigned from Zenith Bank, Obiora Agbasimalu. He resigned from Zenith Bank and went to contest in Anambra, I think 2021 governorship election.
Yes.
The guy was of the Labour Party. He went to campaign in the Ihiala local government, and that was how he was abducted. He was never found till today. So when you deploy that kind of Machiavellian principle of the end justifies the means, that is better that I use any ruthless way to have my way and access power than to play it in a gentlemanly manner. You are constituting nuisance on the political process.
All right.
You are going to make the work of the security agencies much more difficult.
All right, Jide, talking about arresting the situation before it, spirals out of control. As we speak, even you mentioned it earlier, you see, there are viral videos of people instigating violence, sending warnings that, look, we don't want you people here, we only want this here and all of that. There are videos like that circulating on social media as we speak. Now, is it possible for the security organizations to deploy the Cybercrimes Act and then, go after the persons who are found in these videos making these, inciting statements in order to arrest these situations before it incites others? Could that be deployed as well?
Exactly. I agree with you on that count. It's possible. In fact, in the case of Edo, recall my brother, recall that the DSS has arraigned one individual, I've forgotten his name, who, after the attack on Peter Obi, John Odigo, Olumide Akpata, and the rest, he now went and made a post on his Facebook that he and alongside with some other people were responsible for that attack. And the DSS probably picked him up, and I think he's been arraigned to court. Was it sometimes last week or last 2 weeks? But I know he could not have done that all by himself. So the other co-conspirators who are involved in the Edo attack on the ADC leaders need to be fished out and prosecuted. I agree with you. In almost all the cases, in fact, I was in Ekiti State recently, last month, and we we went to the ADC headquarters in Ekiti State, and we were told of how the attack on the ADC secretariat in Ekiti took place on October 21, 2025. And this ADC secretariat is just a few meters away from police headquarters in Ekiti State. But I doubt if any arrest has been made. I doubt if any prosecution is ongoing. And yet, the damage to the ADC secretariat was massive. And it happened during broad daylight. It wasn't in the dead of night. It wasn't under cover of darkness. So people must definitely know who are those responsible for that attack on ADC secretariat. And I would expect the State Police Command to have been able to fish out the perpetrators of that heinous crime. The same for those who attack the Kaduna ADC meeting,
yes.
Those who attacked the one in Badbo Revival in Lagos when he declared for ADC, those who were responsible for the KBO, those who are responsible for the Bakasio, and several. So that's how to deal with impunity. Unless you start apprehending and prosecuting those who are involved in this heinous crime against humanity, those who are involved in fomenting trouble, who are involved in electoral violence, if you don't bring them to justice, there will be culture of impunity, and many more of such will happen. Assuming that we have had arrest and prosecution, successful prosecution for those ones that have
it will definitely serve as deterrent, of course.
Perhaps we should not. We will not be having it across several other states.
Political parties also have a duty to, sensitize and definitely caution their members, candidates, and what have you. But many opposition political parties, as we speak, are in lots of disarray and are trying to even pull themselves together. So could that also distract them from this very important, should I call it, assignment as we speak? Because whether you like it or not, people who foment trouble, the sponsors and the perpetrators, they are all either in one political party, Party A or Party B. So could that also distract them? Their internal struggles right now, could it be a distraction for them to, look away from the most important, one of the most important aspects right now?
I don't think that would be a very good excuse for them. Don't forget, you and I have earlier agreed that there are two modus operandi about this electoral violence we are discussing. There is one that's intra-party, and there is one that's inter-party. So with the one intra-party, what distraction is two factions within the same party trying to seize control of the leadership of the party.
All right.
The one that happened in PDP, those who are involved are known. Cameras are on the faces of those who were involved in those assaults on the Wadata Plaza, and so it's not as if the perpetrators are not known. It's just that security agencies have not really been able to up the ante of their game to arrest and successfully prosecute. I don't think the internal crisis should be a distraction. It should actually be the reason why you will be alert to your responsibility, because self-preservation is the first law of nature. Even when there is intra-party crisis, you have to protect yourself, because he who dies in the battle, you have died. The loss is that of your family. So I think all political parties right now, my advice to them would be take precautions. Take precautions to protect yourself, to protect your party secretariat, particularly when you have intelligence that your party may be attacked. And that's why you need to spend appreciable resources on hiring security and also fitting your secretariats with electronic gadgets like CCTV,
all right,
like and some other things. So the prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
I would say, whether you are in crisis or you are not in crisis, you should spend appreciable resources to protect yourselves as party chieftains and protect your assets, physical assets, like your party secretariat at different levels, whether at the national or sub-national level. Otherwise, once the act is done, bringing the companies to book has always been an Herculean task.
Definitely. And of course, I guess we're going to have to leave it there at that point. Jide Ojo, development consultant, author, and public affairs analyst. Always a delight having you on the program. Many thanks indeed for joining us today.
My pleasure too. Have a great week ahead. Keep safe and stay blessed.
Definitely you too. That's our show for today. Don't forget, you can follow us on all social media handles. And you can also find me on all social media handles as well. I'll see you again tomorrow. I am Enemaku Ojochegbe. Bye for now.